What's up YouTube? My name is Caden and you're watching Gasset Garage. Today, we're doing something a little bit different from my 100th video. Today, I'm going to be giving you a small tour of my garage and also all of the machines that I currently have, as well as the state that they're in, what they need, and my plans for them. And then at the end of this video, I'm going to throw in some footage of all of the highlights from each time I've ridden each one of the machines. Just some really cool stuff like jumping, going really fast, launching, donuts, drifting, that kind of stuff. So be sure to stick around for that and enjoy the video. Alright guys, so this is my garage that I've been working out of for the past few years, or should I say my parents' garage. And this is where I've been doing all of my YouTube content up to this point since I started. So we're going to go ahead and get started. This go-kart right here, I actually just picked up on Facebook Marketplace. I actually got this in a trade, and I traded it for my go-kart seat mini bike, the one with the steering wheel on it. Here's a picture of that. And I was going to sell that bike, but I actually found this deal and ended up trading for this go-kart here. I believe it's a Murray go-kart. There's no markings or stickers or tags on it, so I'm not 100% sure what brand it is, but it's a pretty cool little yard cart. And my plans for this one are, in the first video I do on it, I'm going to get it up and running again because it does need quite a bit of work to get going. It needs valve stems in the rear tires. Front tire needs to be rebeaded. May need some new bearings. Needs brakes, although it does have a brake disc. It needs a little bit of work to the engine, like an air filter and a better header. Maybe a new spark plug cable as well. And then I need to hook up the throttle, and I need to build a brake pedal and probably a new seat because this one kind of sucks. And then I'll probably hook up a better kill switch and just stuff like that. But then after I do all that, I'm going to do a stage 2 build on this engine and a torque converter to turn this thing into a really fast drifting machine, or ripper you could call it. This thing's going to be really fast, and it's going to have a ton of power to where I can do donuts, drift, and go really fast. So can't wait for that. Now, my brother's go-kart over here, we've had for quite a while now, and I've done a lot to it. I've built this seat in here, and it's actually been through 3 different engines. This is its 3rd engine on here. It used to have a Predator 212 that we put on it when we got it. Just had a stage 1 kit and a 30 series torque converter on there, and it was actually fairly quick and pretty powerful for only being a mostly stock 212. But he wanted a little bit more power, so we threw a Predator 420 on it, but that thing didn't really ever run right. It's actually sitting right there, and it just kind of gave up the ghost after a while and just didn't ever want to start or run properly ever again. So, but we ended up putting this Vanguard Briggs & Stratton 16 horsepower V-twin on here with a 40 series CVT, and now this thing absolutely rips. It does donuts for days and goes like 45 miles an hour. It's pretty insane. It still needs a little bit of work done to it though. Probably needs a new belt, and carburetor needs to be tuned a little bit, and I actually need to get a spring for the CVT right here because this spring is actually backwards for the orientation that pulley is in, and they sell a reverse spring specifically for this kind of setup here because the way a CVT works, it's supposed to expand that direction, or this direction actually, if it's oriented the other way. But since I have it turned around, it's kind of pulling it the opposite direction that it's supposed to go, so the spring doesn't work very well, and it tends to yank and jerk this thing a lot. So I have to get a new spring for that. And it also needs a new wheel here because I had to weld that one up because it got really, really cracked. But other than that, this thing is pretty awesome and really, really fast. And we may eventually do an engine build on it. Now, this little thing right here is one of my newest projects that I'm working on. I just released the video on it last week, and this thing is kind of a pile of junk right now, just because of the way it looks. It's not really painted very well, haven't cleaned up any of the welds, and it's just super, super janky. But it should be kind of a cool build once I'm done with it. I still have to build the steering components on it, because as you can see right now, there's no steering whatsoever on it. And then I have to mount that engine. And then I still need to mount a sprocket, brake disc, brakes, throttle, seat, all that jazz. So this thing should be a pretty fun little cart. And then I am going to be selling this thing once I'm done with this. But subscribe for more videos on this, because I will be posting some more here in the near future. All right, now for the mini bikes. We have 4 of them currently. We used to have 5. I just got rid of the go-kart seat bike when I traded for that go-kart, like I mentioned earlier. But this is the collection of mini bikes we currently have. My drag bike right here, I am currently trying to sell it still after like 3 months. I probably just have the price too high. I have it at like $1,800 currently, because just the engine is like $1,200 from what I have done to it, along with the torque converter on there. It's got a Go Power Sports Stage 2 kit in it, which is a billet rod, billet flywheel, 308 cam, 65-pound dual valve springs, performance spark plug, and this Amazon 34mm carburetor, which works pretty well for being a Chinese knockoff of a Mikuni. This thing actually runs really, really well and has great throttle response. Now, this pit bike right here was actually one of my favorite machines until the transmission blew up at Mini Mayhem with Cars and Cameras a couple months ago. I was doing some donuts with it in first gear, and I had it revved out, and I suddenly hear a pop and this horrible grinding noise coming from the transmission. And then from then on out, it kept locking up and making terrible crunching and scraping noises. And I actually opened up the case on it, on the engine, and the transmission was completely destroyed. There were chunks of metal in it. Gears were sheared off. Multiple pieces were cracked and broken. It was just a mess. So I took that engine apart and got rid of it. And soon I will be buying a 140cc 4-speed manual for this thing, because the engine that blew up was just 70 cc's, and it was fun, but it wasn't as powerful as I want on this thing. So a 140 is going to make this thing really, really fast and peppy. So be sure to subscribe for that as well. Now, these 2 mini bikes right here, we've had for a while. This one was actually my friend's frame that he had a 212 on, and it was an absolute death machine from what he had done to it. But anyway, this bike he just gave to me and said, do what you want with it, I don't need it anymore. So I was like, cool. So I put this 196cc engine on it. It's completely stock, other than the fact that it's been degoverned, or well, the governor's been bypassed. But this thing is pretty fast and pretty torquey for only having a clutch on it. But really the only thing it needs is a good wash, because it's covered in mud, and probably a new chain, because that chain is like worn out. But other than that, this thing is pretty good. Now my brother's mini bike over here currently is not wanting to run right. It's got a 212 on it with a stage 1 kit, and it's having some weird issue with the carburetor, because even off choke it still runs really, really rich. And I've cleaned out the carburetor a few times, just kind of did a quick spray out, but I haven't done a deep clean on it, so I may do that next. But this thing, up until it started running bad, was an absolute shredding machine. This thing would go over 40 miles an hour and spin the tire all day long. And it's a pretty powerful bike for what it is. But really all it needs is just a good carb cleaning, or possibly a new carburetor altogether, and maybe even a valve adjustment. So now we come to what is probably my favorite build ever. Under this tarp, we have the Yerf Dog go-kart. All right, sorry, I had to get the tarp off of it. But this is my favorite build because it's the one that I've probably done the most work to. And as you can see, this suspension right here is completely custom. And I actually did a whole build series on this thing if you want to go check that out. There's a whole playlist on that. Now, I've had this thing for quite a while, and when I got it, it used to have a 150cc GY6 engine on it, which was an absolute turd. And this thing was kind of a dog because it was pretty slow. Lives up to its name, Yerf Dog. But I changed that by putting a Predator 670 on it, which is right back in here. I actually got this engine on Facebook Marketplace for $550, brand new, with a brand new CVT on it, 780 CVT. So I probably got about $1,700 worth of engine and driveline here for $550, which was an absolutely killer deal. Probably one of the best I've ever seen on Marketplace. And then I also built these independent trailing arms on the back of this thing, and let me tell you, this thing is an absolute monster. It's not ridiculously fast. It only goes like 35 miles an hour, but it's incredibly torquey, and this thing will drive over basically anything you throw at it. And also, besides that, it's just the smoothest ride ever. This thing is practically the Cadillac of go-karts, if you could even call this thing a go-kart. It's more of a poor man's side-by-side, basically. But I absolutely love this thing, and either this year or next, I'm eventually going to do a full build on the engine, probably build it out to like 50 or 60 horsepower. That would be really, really cool. Make this thing faster and even more powerful. But for right now, let's go ahead and move on to the last project. And that would be my Toyota 4Runner right here. This is my daily driver, but it is also quickly becoming my super cool off-road rig. I've been recently getting more into heavy-duty off-roading like this with a full-size vehicle, and let me tell you, it is so much fun. And if you have a truck or an SUV like this, I highly suggest you go throw some off-road tires on it and go wheeling, because it's just so much fun driving through trails, getting stuck, hanging out with friends. It's just a really, really cool way to have fun. But as for this thing, I've built this completely custom steel tubing front bumper on this thing completely from scratch. I bent it all up myself and welded it together myself. So be sure to go check out the series of videos that I did on this thing. And I'm actually not done with it yet. I'm getting ready to put a 3-inch lift on this thing, assuming my rear shocks actually finally get here. They've been taking forever. But I've got a 12,000 pound rough country winch on this thing, as well as some light bars. And then I've got 31-inch mud tires on this thing, and I built these running boards / rock sliders, which look really cool. And then I built these rear quarter guards, I like to call them. They protect the rear quarter panel. And then this rear hitch back here, it helps protect my bumper when I drop off of an obstacle on this thing. And then I also put some lights up top there. After I lift this thing, it's probably going to be a little while before I do more upgrades on it, because I still have to figure out kind of exactly what I want to do. But other than that, this thing is pretty awesome. And actually, I lied. That wasn't the last one of this video. I forgot about my four-wheeler over here. This is my Bombardier DS650 Sport Quad, and this thing is one of the fastest and most powerful machines I have ever driven in my life. It's got about almost 50 horsepower, I believe, 650cc dual overhead cam, 4-valve single-cylinder engine, and this thing has long travel suspension front and rear, and it has a ridiculous amount of power. And let me tell you, this thing absolutely shreds. But as for right now on this thing, I'm not really sure what else I'm going to do to it at the moment, because upgrades for something like this cost a lot of money, and I kind of need to go make some more money right now before I start throwing a bunch of cash into this thing. So it's probably going to be a little while before you'll see this thing in a video again, although I might take it out for a ride now and again, because it's just so much fun to ride. So the last thing I want to show you is my workbench area. It's not much right now, but this is where everything gets done in this garage. Right here I have my big toolbox that I still have to kind of fill up. I got some suspension parts for the 4Runner, ratchet set, bunch of random parts that I have to go through, oil, drills, toolbox, tubing benders over here. Have this engine under here that I am going to be putting on a mini bike that I'm going to be building soon. Can't wait for that. And then I have over here bandsaw that doesn't work, tubing notcher, vise, grinder, and then also got my welder right there. And I'll put links in the description for some of this stuff, like my welder and grinder and tubing bender right there. Just some specialty tools that I use. And then I've got a bunch of spare parts and tools on the pegboard up there. So right here, I'm gonna throw in a whole bunch of clips from each one of the machines, and it's gonna be basically a bunch of awesome highlights from all of the ride footage that I have from all of my machines. Like jumps, wheelies, drifting, donuts, drag racing, that kind of stuff. So thanks for watching, subscribe, and enjoy all of the ride highlights.
Nice. Woohoo! Oh gosh. He went full send.